Hello and a very warm welcome to the brand new edition of the Question Hour show from the Parliament House complex. The show where we bring you important unstarred questions asked by the members of the upper house during the previous session of Parliament or the 252nd session of the Rajya Sabha and the response given by the government. I'm KRITI MISHRA and joining me is my colleague RAJAT KAIN.
Well, thanks KRITI and thanks to your viewers for watching this edition of Question Hour. Well, this is a show where we get you all the latest questions asked by the members and the replies given by the ministries.
Well, Rajat, Question Hour is a very important tool in parliamentary democracy as it gives the opportunity to the members of both houses to question the government, to fix the accountability of the government and seek responses or replies. There are different types of questions, the starred questions, the unstarred ones and also the short notice ones.
Well, the starred questions are the ones where answers are given directly on the floor of the House, whereas the unstarred are the ones where answers are laid on the table of, are deemed to be laid on the table of the House rather at the end of the proceedings. And our show, Question Hour, focuses on the unstarred questions.
But Rajat, what is the procedure? How are these questions asked and how are these questions replied to? Here's a small presentation for our viewers.
A member submits his or her questions at least 15 days before the office of Rajya Sabha chairman. The Rajya Sabha Secretariat chooses the questions to be answered through a draw of ballots. Separate ballots are held for starred and unstarred questions. The questions are scrutinized for admissibility under the current rules and precedents. Advance copies of chosen questions are sent to ministry or departments concerned. The ministry concerns collect information to prepare the reply. The minister concerned reply to starred questions on the floor of the House and provides written answers to unstarred questions. Up to 160 unstarred questions are listed every day in a separate list.
Well, there you saw it, how these questions are asked. So KRITI, now it's time to begin our show. Well, the first question of this edition of Question Hour was asked by member VIJAYASAI Reddy from Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. The member sought details about the healthcare infrastructure vis-a-vis the COVID situation in the country. Well, primarily, member asked about the improvement or to say updating of the health infrastructure ever since COVID-19 pandemic struck us, steps taken by the state governments and by when we'll have COVID-19 vaccine.
And before we apprise our viewers about the answer given by the ministry, let's remind them that this reply was given by the government during the previous session or the 252nd session, and this was during the period of September 2020. I'm sure the figures must have revised by now, and now let's go through the response. So the government says that COVID-19 pandemic has mandated that all countries, including India, they must better address their public health infrastructure systems at all levels, including the primary, secondary and tertiary. So the government says that with 85,499 tests per million, as on 18 September 2020, Andhra Pradesh is one of the top states in conducting COVID-19 tests in the country. All the states' UTs are provided with necessary financial support under India COVID-19 Emergency Response and Health System Preparedness Package. Central allocation and release during financial year 2020-21 under the COVID-19 package for the state of Andhra Pradesh has also been given by the government. The government also says that Central Drugs Standard Control Organization has granted test license permission for manufacture of COVID-19 vaccine for preclinical test, examination and analysis to the manufacturers in India. Now, these include Serum Institute of India Private Limited, Pune, Cadila Healthcare Limited, Ahmedabad, Bharat Biotech International Limited, Hyderabad, Biological E Limited, Hyderabad, Reliance Life Sciences Private Limited, Mumbai, Aurobindo Pharma Limited, Hyderabad, and Genova Biopharmaceuticals Limited, Pune. The government further says that Indian Council of Medical Research is facilitating the following studies related to COVID-19 vaccines. An inactivated whole virion candidate vaccine for SARS COVID has been developed by Bharat Biotech International Limited using the virus isolate provided by ICMR National Institute of Virology, Pune. Phase 1 clinical trials along with parallel studies in hamsters has been completed and has revealed excellent safety of the candidate vaccine. Immunogenicity testing is in progress and Phase 2 clinical trials are ongoing. A DNA vaccine has been developed by Cadila Healthcare Limited. Pre-clinical toxicity studies were conducted in small animals, mice, rats, rabbits and guinea pigs. The vaccine has been found to be safe and immunogenic. Cadila has partnered with ICMR for conduct of parallel pre-clinical studies in rhesus. Phase 1 clinical trials have been completed. The trial has revealed excellent safety of the candidate vaccine. Serum Institute of India and ICMR have partnered for clinical development of 2 global vaccine candidates. ICMR and SSI have also partnered for clinical development of glycoprotein subunit nanoparticle vaccine developed by Novavax from USA. Department of Biotechnology, Department of Science and Technology, they are also supporting more than 30 vaccine candidates which are in different stages of development. Well, as we reminded our viewers that this response was given by the government during the previous session of Parliament, and we do hope that very soon we do have the COVID-19 vaccine. Well, Rajat, the member who asked this very pertinent question, Mr. V. VIJAYASAI Reddy, is joining us on the Question Hour show through virtual platform. Sir, welcome to Rajya Sabha TV and thank you so much for joining us. Sir, there have been specific developments as far as vaccine for COVID-19 pandemic is concerned, but you asked this question during the previous session of Rajya Sabha and the government has given a very comprehensive reply. What is your take on government's response?
See, the answer which the central government has given was quite a standard one. Even though Andhra Pradesh still remains the state with the highest COVID test at 2.16 lakhs tests per million and over 1.3 crore samples were tested. A lot more can be done by the central government in terms of providing the financial support to the states, which are doing good in the health sector. This is what the central government reply was. So, the answer reveals that the September, the Andhra Pradesh government was allotted only 258 crores, out of which just rupees 199 crores were released as part of the COVID-19 emergency response and health system preparedness package. This is just about 1% of the 17,300 crores which the AP state government has planned to spend on healthcare infrastructure, to spend the healthcare and forming new medical colleges. This is the proposal of the state government, and wherein in all the districts, Andhra Pradesh has got 13 districts. Wherever there are no medical colleges and hospitals, the state government is planning to set up the colleges, and the government is planning to spend about 17,300 crores on that. This should go up manifold, and therefore I shall pursue this matter with the government, Delhi government, whenever I get an opportunity.
In the response, the government also talks about the efforts of the state governments.
See, the role of the state and specific mention of AP, as we see it, there are 3 specific areas where the state needs to work on during the outbreak of pandemic. That is, testing is one, and containing the outbreak. That is number 1. Number 2, creating human and physical infrastructure to fight the defeat of the outbreak. And third one is help in bringing the life and livelihood of the people of the state back on track, which was completely in disarray. See, all the above 3 mentioned 3 areas, I think the state of Andhra Pradesh under our Chief Minister, Sri Jagan Mohan Reddy Garu, has done exceedingly well. This is what has been appreciated by the central government also. Andhra Pradesh yesterday has reported just 2 deaths, and 438 cases have been reported, and we have been able to bend the curve very successfully in the recent past.
Sir, any specific suggestion that you'd like to make?
See, the central government, the suggestion what state could give to the central government in this regard, we have been very fortunate to have reached a stage wherein we have 3 potential vaccine candidates who have sought emergency use of authorization from the Drug Control General of India for their respective vaccines. As per the central government directives, Andhra Pradesh government has issued an order for establishment of the state task force comprising of teams in district level, mandal level, and also the urban levels to carry out the COVID-19 test and also vaccination drive. The cold chain storage units are needed to store this vaccine that is produced by the manufacturer between 2 to 8 degrees centigrade. In fact, Bharat Biotech, which is a company which has already come out in the market with the vaccine, and that is being vaccinated to the COVID patients here in Telangana and also in Andhra Pradesh. So far, Andhra has about 4,065 such units. Since vaccination has to be done by professionals, 19,000 ANMs will be roped in, and even ASHA workers will also be trained for additional support. The central government has assured Andhra Pradesh access to 1 crore vaccine shots in first phase, for which we are very grateful to the Honorable Prime Minister. Therefore, only suggestion to the central government would be to ensure that no one is deprived of the vaccine, and that the vaccine should be within the reach of the common man of the country, particularly the state of Andhra Pradesh, which is economically in poor condition at this point of time.
Point well taken. Thank you so much for joining us and speaking to us on the Question Hour show, sir. And moving on to the next question, and this one has been asked by member Mahesh Podar, and this question is to the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. And the member has questioned the government on the skill development hubs or centers in eastern part of India.
Well, KRITI, many thanks, and this is indeed a very important question. Also from the point of view of Self-Reliant India initiative, as development of skill development hubs is extremely essential for enhancing the productivity as well as encouraging our artisans. Well, a response to this query was given by Minister of State for Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, R.K. Singh. The Directorate of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, the Government of Goa entered into Memorandum of Understanding with the National Skill Development Corporation, that is an organization under the Ministry, for technical assistance for the International Skill Hub on the 11th of August 2020. The Government of Goa plans to conduct fee-based and government-supported short-term training programs in healthcare sector and later on in hospitality, IT, job roles. NSDC is providing technical support for development of standard and protocol for selection of training agency, framework for national skill qualification framework, compliant infrastructure and courses management of the project as well. The Skill India mission works towards providing high-quality skill training to youth of the nation for employment in national and international market by working in close collaboration with the state governments, private agencies and other stakeholders across the country. State governments, including Government of Jharkhand, may adopt a similar approach as mentioned above to establish international skill hubs specifically focusing on aspirations of youth and market demand. On such projects, technical assistance and support is provided by the MSDE and NSDC on request from the state government. Well, moving on to next question that was asked by member Mallikarjun Kharge, and the question was also asked from the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. The member sought details that what has been government's program in terms of skill development amid the COVID-19 pandemic and what steps has been taken.
And there's a very comprehensive response given by the government, and this reply has been given by MO Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, R.K. Singh, and he says that during the lockdown period because of COVID-19 pandemic, the government has been providing e-skilling to the people through the online platform which is eSkill India. Further, Ministry of Home Affairs has permitted the conduct of skill training programs in physical form from September 21st, 2020 onwards. Accordingly, standard operating procedures or SOPs have been issued by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare for restarting the training. Under Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, as on 17th of March 2020, 42.02 lakh and 33.66 lakh candidates have been trained and certified respectively under short-term training courses. Out of these certified candidates, 17.54 lakh candidates have been provided with placement. Also, 49.12 lakh candidates who already have the informal skills but are not formally certified have been oriented under recognition of prior learning component of the scheme. Various initiatives have been taken to enhance placement of the certified candidates. Some of the major initiatives are: training providers or training centers have organized Rozgar Melas with the support of sector skill councils. Last tranche of payment, that is 20% of total training funds to these training centers, is based on the placement of certified candidates. Additional incentives are given to the training centers for placing candidates above the minimum required level. An allocation of fresh targets of the training centers is based on their placement performance. And moving on to the next question, and this one has been asked by member Bhaskar Raunikanti, and this question is to the Ministry of Rural Development. And the member has questioned the government on the release of central fund for the Annapurna scheme.
Well, thanks, Kriti. Before going to the reply given by Ministry, in this case from Minister of Rural Development, Narendra Singh Tomar, let us apprise our viewers that the Annapurna scheme pertains to the initiative by government that aims at food security scheme for the senior citizens. In a detailed reply, the Ministry says that the scheme is component of National Social Assistance Program implemented by the Ministry. Under Annapurna scheme, 10 kgs of food grains, that is wheat or rice, is provided per month per beneficiary. The scheme aims at providing security to meet requirement of those eligible old age persons who have remained uncovered under the old age pension scheme. Food grains under Annapurna scheme is allocated by Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution on the recommendation of Ministry of Rural Development as per the food grain UC submitted by states and union territories, and funds for availing allotted food grains are released by Ministry of Rural Development. And during the year 2019-20, as per requirement submitted by the state of Odisha, 3,888 metric tons of rice was allocated to the state, and 552.61 lakh was released to state under the Annapurna scheme. Well, moving on to the next question of this edition of the show, that was asked by member Ila Raman Karim from Ministry of Railways. The member sought details about the number of Shramik trains plied by the Ministry of Railways, essentially to help the migrant workers during COVID-19 pandemic.
And as we know, Shramik trains were organized on a mission mode by the Ministry of Railways for the urgent requirement of the migrant labourers for their movement, and this response has been given by Railways Minister Piyush Goyal. So in the reply, the government says that keeping in view the urgent requirement of movement of stranded persons, Shramik specials were organized in a mission mode. These Shramik specials were organized as trains on demand as and when state governments requisition these trains in accordance with the protocol and guidelines given by the government. In all, 4,621 Shramik special have been operated between 1st of May 2020 and 31st of August 2020, carrying 63.19 lakh passengers to their home states. Shramik special trains were requisitioned by state governments. In normal circumstances, such special trains are booked by state governments or any agency or by any individual on full tariff rates, which include normal fare for both directions, service charge, empty charge and detention charge. Indian Railways allowed booking of Shramik specials on normal fare for one direction only. Special arrangements like enhanced sanitization, special security, medical arrangement, rake sanitization, free meals, water, etc. for Shramik operations further added to the overall cost of running these trains. Railways have collected fare for Shramik special trains from state governments or their authorized representatives. Railways did not collect any fare directly from the passengers. Fare collected from state governments or from the representatives of state governments for running Shramik special trains for period of 1st May 2020 to 31st of August 2020 is approximately 433 crore. Railway could recover only a small fraction of expenditure incurred on running of Shramik special trains, thereby incurring a loss in the operation of these trains. No train lost its way or travelled in the wrong direction, as most of the Shramik specials were run towards eastern parts of the country on specific routes to ease congestion on these routes. Very few trains were routed through alternate non-congested routes between 20th and 24th of May 2020 during the peak phase of Shramik special operations. The government also says that 113 complaints have been received by IRCTC from passengers travelling on these 4,621 Shramik special trains on unavailability of food and water during the operation of Shramik special trains.
So that's it in this edition of the show Questionnaire. You can also watch all our programs on the online platform of YouTube and catch the latest of updates on RSTV and our programs on our Twitter handle RSTV.
Well, that's all Rajat and I have for you. Take care, stay safe and goodbye.